You've seen the panic up close.
Mm-hmm.
When a disaster strikes, human nature is to clean up the mess immediately. Why is that usually the biggest financial mistake a family can make before calling someone like you?
If you don't know how to navigate and fight the insurance company, it's going to be a little bit difficult. First of all, if you get rid of all, if you discard everything that's out of the, like you got your whole house out, um, the problem is they want photos, documentation, video, and anything else that can show what the loss did and what it damaged. They're going to want all that back up before they even open coverage for a claim. And the biggest mistake is if a homeowner does and guts out that whole kitchen, let's say it's in the kitchen, right? They gut it all out. What do they have to prove to the insurance company that in actuality was what happened?
I would imagine that for the average Joe, that what you do, your profession is unbeknownst to them. Like
Right.
before I met you, I never heard of a public adjuster.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a homeowner, and so I haven't had to be in that situation. Luckily, I haven't had a situation where there was a disaster, where there was a flood or a roof flew off.
Right.
But I wouldn't have known, like, oh, I need to call public adjuster. The first instinct that I think most humans will have is, let me call my insurance company immediately.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when they immediately get sucked into that insurance web of the insurance giants. How does the everyday homeowner that's watching know, well, there's a public adjuster out there, that's the person they need to call who's going to be on their side, rather than calling the insurance, who's likely going to give them the short end of the stick?
There's always bad characters in every industry, right? There's bad GCs, there's bad plumbers. I mean, you can go on and on. Bad cops and everything, right? Um, some of those bad characters put a stigma on our industry, and we find that a lot of those characters are not involved with associations. Like I'm a member of Florida Association of Public Insurance Adjusters. And when those deficiencies come up and they're brought to our attention, we find out that a lot of them are non-FAPIA members. And what we've been trying to do is when we find out these bad characters in our industry, we actually school them ourselves. We try to contact them, the industry, and let them know, hey, this isn't a good thing to do. You need to stay in compliant. You need to stay in regulation. There's certain ethics that you have to follow when you're a public insurance adjuster. And then most of the time, the feedback that we get is they appreciate us letting them know what they should be doing in that industry.
But how do you raise the awareness that you guys exist to homeowners who don't know what a public adjuster is?
Social media, networking, letting the people that you do network with, if they find themselves in situations where they're having a conversation and their friends, colleagues, coworkers are explaining to them that they woke up with a huge headache, they've been fighting with their insurance company, they don't feel like they're being heard, they're not being paid correctly for a claim.
Yeah.
That's when the people that you network with, they come to mind and they're like, oh my God, I remember this, Wendi Gabriel I met. And I remember she said that she advocates for homeowners. Let me have you contact her. She might be able to help you.
Could you take us back to one of those stories, one of those times, a family that really just stuck in your head where they had a disaster? Bring us to that day. What happened? Was it something where you turned devastation into triumph? And what was the devastation that that family actually had?
This past year, we helped a client that was impacted by Hurricane Helene and Milton. And it wasn't just the homeowners, it was homeowners and flood, which involves FEMA. Everything was completely destroyed. They had up to, like the wall behind me between the couch and the picture on the wall, right? The wall came up between halfway point.
Wow, it's a
They
lot.
had to gut everything out, drywall wise, all the way up to 6 feet, or at least up to 4 or 5 feet. So everything had to be cut out. Anything behind the wall had to be cut out. All their belongings that they were not able to elevate was destroyed. We got in there and we were notified that they needed help. We got the documentation that they needed. We got the photos that they needed. I mean, really, that even involves more, right? Because you have inventory that you lost, meaning furniture, books, artwork, all that. It all has to be on a spreadsheet and itemized and how much the dollar amount is. Can you imagine a homeowner having to go through this all by themselves, have a spreadsheet, and have it about 20 to 25 pages long of everything they lost, if they can even remember everything they lost?
Yeah, it's itemizing your life, itemizing your home. People are not going to be too logical during that period because they're so emotional, they're so devastated, they're so
Yes.
scared, they're
Yep.
lost.
So going back to that story, the gentleman was really even keeled. You know, he could go through the process and be very, like, this is what we need to do, very calm. The wife, and they were a young couple, she was just so devastated. She had lost everything. A couple times that when I spoke with her, my heart was just breaking for her, because you could tell, like, you could hear the tension in her, voice, and she'd be almost crying. And they actually had to fire the first flood carrier adjuster because he was non-responsive. We got her another flood carrier, and after we were able to get that flood carrier, it was able to move forward and get them the money.
Mm.
But the whole process just stressed her out. Every time I spoke with her, she was just so upset, and all I could do was just try to reassure her that we were on the right path and we would get her the money in the long run.
You get sucked into that emotion yourself,
Absolutely.
right?
It's gut-wrenching.
You take it home with you,
Right.
you probably lose sleep sometimes over this, or you wonder, like, what could I have done more to help this family? What could I have
Mhm.
done to alleviate their pain? It becomes personal, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
If you enjoyed this video and want to watch more just like it, click right here. And if you want to watch the entire episode, click right here.